YouTube found community, tennis fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens. We are here today to talk about tennis's most recent album as of 2020, Swimmer, released through Mutually Detrimental, which is their record company. And it's an absolutely brilliant album. If you've seen my video for top 10 albums of 2020, this was the one that I put at number one. I absolutely adore this thing. It's everything that tennis has been building up to at this point culminated into one perfectly wrapped package. I feel like they've sort of figured out their sound, and it's changed over the years, but like at this point, from what they've done over the last couple of releases, this is such a fine-tuned document of that mixture of 80s synth, dream pop, indie rock, everything sort of blended together as one groove of an album. And I absolutely love it. I mean, the lyrics on this album, again, continue that exploration into yourself, the world around you, what it's like being a woman as far as what Elena writes about, and we're all the better for listening to it. So I absolutely adore this thing. So if you haven't heard it, really give it a try. It starts off with a song called I'll Haunt You, and this is such a gorgeous piano ballad, and it's so heavy and it's so dense. I love those piano chords. They just sound like they're from a distant universe. They're warm, they're inviting. But Elena's gentle voice on top of this thing, combined with the build-up and the epicness the song becomes, what a moody track to open up into. That it's such a fantastic start. It only works, I think, at the beginning of this album, and it lends itself really well into the first half of this thing, where the album just flows perfectly. So Need Your Love is the next song on here, and those slamming drums on the intro just grab your attention. I remember the first time I heard that song, I was like, wow. Number one, love the production of the drums, very raw, which I really love hearing that hi-hat and that snare so expressly played, so much character in that rhythm. The crashing piano that comes in, Elena's voice is so clean and clear on top of it all, and the shifts are jarring, but they're so effective because it goes from one beat to another completely out of left field. And you're like, whoa, it becomes a whole different song in the chorus. And I love that. That transition works so well. That baby, you've got more poison than sugar refrain that's repeated over and over again sticks in your ears forever. A song about going back and forth and maybe giving up your heart. I've been trying to dig into this song more as I've been listening to it. And this is one of the cool things about this album is that I've been going back and forth to it, or going back to it rather, and digging deeper and deeper into it each time I've played it. And it never fails to disappoint me, or it never comes across as boring or as like, oh, I've played this before. It's always like, oh, good, I get to play this album again. So really digging it. How to Forgive. This is easily one of my favorites on this thing. It's such a bouncy song with splashes of synths and organ. And I love the vocals on this one. That chorus is amazing and it lives in your head forever. How do you express what's in your heart, you know? And that's kind of what the song is about. Like, how do you be honest to yourself? How do you let things happen? There's a lot of thought on this one. And that's one of the things I love about their lyrics anyway, is that they're sort of capturing anxiety, but capturing honesty and vulnerability and playing with what part to bring out the most. And I can really dig that just as a human being. So I like that a lot. Runner is track 4 on here. This is also a single, and this is sung in the most beautiful falsetto ever for like most of this track. The guitar, or the track just grabs you right from the start. It's got this dreamy intro with the guitar, this like really lullaby kind of feeling before this smooth little shuffle rolls in, and Elena's voice on top of it as a cherry on top, and you're just lost in this dimension of 80s nostalgia synth pop that doesn't rely on that notion. It's definitely wearing its inspirations on its sleeve, but it's so them at the same time in a now moment, in a now song, type of song, I should say. It's a shimmering song. The tick-tocking of the hi-hats on this thing. The song is a relentless love story. Really dig this one. Echoes and side 1, and this had to be written about her hospital stay a few years ago. I remember seeing them in concert, I think in like 2018 or something like that. And at the time, they were just coming off of her having been in the hospital, I think for the flu or something that she had. But anyway, she like passed out at a store, they had to go to the hospital. And this whole song is fascinating because it sounds like it was written from a hospital bed, which it may have been. And if there's interviews about this and I'm repeating myself, my apologies. But it definitely is a fascinating song, you know, worried about trying to look cool as he might be dying on the floor of a store somewhere. I love the acoustic guitars on this thing. The production is great. You know, it's a song about trying to look cool while possibly facing a terrible illness. And I really find that concept interesting. Title track Swimmer starts off side 2, and the steady beat on this one, the hypnotic guitar frame, the cautious lead vocals. I wonder what the backstory here is on this one. This is a song I still haven't figured out too well. It's a slow jam, but it's heavy. You know, Some Summer You Have Planned For Me. The song just grows, but it's also calm at the same time. It's another moody side opener. I love how both sides open up with a moody type of track, but really dig that one. Tender as a Tomb. This is another one that sticks in your head forever too. Love that clean electric guitar tone on this one. It's got a very sort of like 50s tiki sound to me with that guitar lead. And it's just a nice little song about sometimes how you can't explain your heart, and that's more than okay, but it's a catchy, gentle little song. Late Night is track 3 on here. Fascinating, intimate, vulnerable. Really interesting song. It's a deep track about loving yourself and just being there as your own cheerleader. Touches of 80s synth kind of tingle through this thing, but Elena's voice is so confident on this one and reflective. But I love the growing awareness that this track is, and you know, lyrically and musically, I feel like it's aware of itself and trying to figure out its own place in the world. Kind of like how, you know, overcoming anxiety can feel sometimes. And then Matrimony 2, which is great because we already had a Matrimony on their last album. Matrimony 2, this song for me is a song about growing into a marriage together, because these two are married. They've been together for like 10 years or more, or something like that by now. Looking out for each other, the changes you'll go through as people, and you know, together. You're going to grow as a person, and you want that person to be there with you as you grow and still be totally stoked on that person at the same time. It's a gorgeous song. I love the syrupy strings. I love how the pure love that they have for each other is on display. It's just a nice thing to hear of two happy people in love working together as a band, still, you know, stoked about each other. I think it's a great thing. Back cover, very vaporwave look, if you will. And the vinyl on this thing is absolutely fantastic, but picture of Elena, and you get the lyrics on the back. But this is a limited edition cobalt blue vinyl, and it's just so cool. Let me see if I can get the light on it better, because it really is like a kind of a see-through transparent blue. Well, there's the ring light, but it just looks fantastic in person. I adore this album. I mean, like I said, this was my #1 album of 2020, and it's something that I continue to go back to and discover, and there's always something different that I missed the last time I played it. And that's the mark for me of a great album, and a great album for me is something that grows over and over again and develops with you as a person as you grow up, and that, you know, something you might not have been too keen on at first becomes something you can't live without a couple of months later. That for me is this album. So easily a 9 out of 10, hands down. I adore this album. I'm so stoked to see what they come up with next, because they keep getting better and better and better with each album they put out. They can't do any wrong, and seeing them in concert's fantastic too. So we were going to go see them. A few of my friends and I were going to go see them in April, but obviously the world shut down, so we couldn't do that. But really can't wait to see these guys again. So Tennis, thank you so much for making an absolutely fantastic album. Thank you for being a band. Thank you for doing what you do, and just being really cool people. So my name is Giggens. 9 out of 10 for Tennis. Swimmer. Pick it up. Listen to it online. Find it where you got to find it, but you'll really dig it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.